There we go. I'm now live. Woo! How are you? You're not here yet. I'm putting on hand cream, so that gives me something to do while I wait for you. Oh man, close windows. I am, I am. Whoops, don't shut down the system, Sarah. Okay, let's try that. Oh, there's another window open. I just you know, reset my router and remind me later. How about that? My modem and my router because very annoyingly, um, I I'm teaching at Stitches online on the Zoom. This is the Facebook, but looks just like this, but different. Um, on Saturday, I had a session and my internet was bad. And like the worst part was, and I don't know why. So I have my camera with my beautiful face, and then I have a camera with my hands where I do close-up demonstrations or show things. And that camera, the hand camera, was just there was a huge lag, and then it was super like you couldn't see. It was really it wasn't even blurry, it was bad. And and then my internet kept cutting out, so I'd go away and I'd come back and the thing would start again and I don't know. So I have restarted everything, so we'll see how it goes. I was sad though. Hi Diane, hi Fran, hi Anna. um, so I was really sad, and I have to watch the it's recorded, and then the students can watch the recording for a couple weeks after the event. The event extends into next weekend also. I only taught Saturday one session, and then I don't know, 2 this next oh boy, boring myself, either 2 this coming Saturday and 1 on Sunday, or 1 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, I don't remember, but 3 this next weekend. So, I need to watch the recording and see how horrible it was. And I'm like, "I'm sorry," and there was one person who, um so people can choose to count on the, recording and watch that later, and, quite often there are people missing, so you assume that that's where they are. Or that's what they're doing. They're gonna watch the recording later, and, happily, I had 9 of my 10 students during the class, so, there's only 1 who's gonna be pissed off at me if the recording's horrible. Well, the recording's gonna be horrible, but I have to see how horrible. I'm, like, afraid to find out. "Hey, cat." Um, so that's, like, one of the worst nightmares is that the internet doesn't work for today's Zoom teaching, and then another, nightmare is that you're teaching to an empty Zoom room because everybody's counting on a recording. And then there's lots of nightmares, but a third one is forgetting to hit the record button, which I've almost done more than once. So I've tried a sticky on the screen until I remember to hit record, but sometimes the sticky falls off and I'll need something bigger. So I'm over here in the corner on the laptop again, even though I have the fancy new computer, because I wanted to show you some things up close, and I couldn't figure out why the new computer wouldn't autofocus, and it's because the new computer doesn't autofocus. I looked it up, and the iMacs do not autofocus. So this one does, so I can show you some things close up. So we'll just bounce back and forth between computers, but today, here we are. Um, so I taught my first session of 4 for my, from start to finish class, and I'm knitting along with my class. I don't know. This is the original, which you've probably seen before, or one of the original samples for the class, and yes, I have to weave in the ends and sew on the buttons, but there since I have been teaching it more and more, I keep changing things about it, so that sample isn't really accurate anymore. So I'm re-knitting along with my class, and here's my sleeve. I did my sleeve. So I have my little border, and so this is my sleeve. It's not gonna fit me. It's, the same size as the one I just held up, but there's my little sleeve, and here's my I don't know. Whoops, oh boy. Well, there we go. My left front or my right front, I don't remember, but there it is. That's all the farther I am. So we're supposed to have 2 fronts, a back, and a sleeve done by next Saturday morning. Uh, it'll be fine. And in a perfect world, I'll knit 2 of each so that I can sew it together and have a completed one, and then I can have pieces for the next time I teach the class to sew things together. But we'll see. We'll see what I get done. So, oh boy, I'm yawning today. I'm sorry. Clara's been making me go to bed earlier. She barks at me if I'm up past like 9. Um, and then she's very patient when I sleep in. So I've been getting a lot of sleep, probably too much. So let's see. We're teaching that class. I showed you the sample. I have to get my class ready for it's probably starting, well, this is only the 7th. The last 2 weekends, I think, of February, I'm teaching my Granny Stripes and Squares class. Crocheted Granny Stripes and Squares. Did I say that right? So I'm excited about that. I found another sample that I forgot I had. Oh, I found it. Was it last week that I went through my it's been a long week. I think it was last week I sat here and went through my projects with you, and they were all behind me, and now they're not. See, now it's pretty empty. I've got a basket there and a basket there, and that basket right, oops, that basket right there, that was hard to do. Yesterday, last week when I kept saying, I don't know, there's a basket in the other room. No, there wasn't. It was here the whole time. And so I think I ended up with 69 projects on the list, but one of them I thought was in the bedroom was here, and I did count it, so that's 68, and then 2 of them weren't knitting or crochet, so I'm not going to count them after all, so that's 66, or maybe I'm at 67, I don't know. Not 60, holy crap, 30. Woo, just doubled my works in progress. That would be bad. Yeah, 30 something. I think 37 or 36. 66, holy crap. Okay. So, that is that. And then as far as my accountability for my knitting goes, I mean, I started the other sweater. I told you I was going to do that for my class, the little sweater. So I worked on my poncho. Good girl. I didn't get, well, I did not too badly. This is where we were we being me, that's where we were last week. And so I went that much farther. That doesn't look right. Yes, it does. I just hit a dark slub. Yep, so that's how much farther I got, which is, I never can remember from time to time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's halfway. 1, 2, 3. I can probably put another, let's see. Let's count, shall we? Here, you can help me because I can do this. That's why I'm over here. Okay, so I'm counting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so I think I have another 20 there. Let's see. So every 20 stitches is 40 rows, which is 4 inches. So I'm marking every 20 stitches, which is 40 rows, which is 4 inches, because every 4 inches is significant. Let's see. 1, and these are just, the plastic ones are just where I was the previous week, so those aren't part of the counting. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whoop. And then we double check. We always double check. That's 0. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20. Okay, so now what? I already forget what I counted here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. It's 4 feet long. So there's 1/4 of it. 1, 2, 3. That's the halfway point. 1, 2, 3. That's the 3/4 mark. 1. So I'm more than a quarter through the last quarter I don't know. There's some percentages and fractions and math in there, which I don't know, but and I'll just count it 17 more times. But I'm coming up on halfway through the last quarter. And I'm on the am I? Nope. I'm on the last ball of the blue cerulean, and this much, and then I have the last ball of Otis. Otis the owl. I don't know what Otis means color-wise. All right. So that's that project. And I've been alternating that project, not really like on purpose alternating, but that's my easy project. And then when I don't have quite as much brain power, I work on my Starsky sweater, which is a slip stitch pattern. So between the 2-color brioche pattern I just showed you and the 2-color slip stitch Starsky sweater pattern, I keep, and then in my class Saturday, I was doing knit one, purl one ribbon. I couldn't because it was only one color and I was knitting and purling all the stitches and nothing was slipped or yarn over it or whatever. So that was super confusing. You know, life is hard. And then it's not. Oh, so I was going to put in my next pin. That's what all that was about. So I counted and put in another one of those counting pins. But let's put in a Sarah got this far pin. There we go. Sarah got that far. Okay, yay. And then I don't have a lot to tell you today. I'm having a midweek, mid-February crisis. Wanting to do all the things and can't do all the things, so that's not really new. I'm playing with my logo, which I like, and I got years ago from Jill Zielinski. I didn't get it from her. I hired her to come up with a logo for me. I met her. I sat in the before times. I sat next to her at a banquet, a dinner, an event put on during one of the industry trade shows in, where were we? Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. And so I met Jill, and Jill turns out to be from Michigan, from Pinconning, which I thought was a kind of cheese, which it is, but I didn't know it was named Pinconning because there was a place. But there is, and it is. But my logo, long story. I hired her, and then I told her all kinds of things in words, and she said, if you can send me pictures of things you like, that would be great. And I'm like, I don't do pictures, I do words. And I sent her more words, and 6 months later she's like, can you send me some pictures? And I'm like, fine. And I sent her like 3 pictures, and she plopped out this I'm having a lot of trouble doing 2 things at once right now. Logo that I was like, yes, that's it. And she's like, okay, thank God. And she had a baby in the middle of all that. So my old logo, my current logo looks like, oh geez Louise. Looks like that. There, the 4 knit stitches, and then Sarah Peasley, hand knitter. Sarah's ultimate goal is not part of the logo. So I love it. It's colorful. It's boxes all lined up. But lately, I'm not quite so lined up. And I'm colorful, but I think I'm more into the softer, like a yellow green. So I actually just made I didn't make an appointment, but I nudged an artist friend of mine who I had talked to years ago in the before time. No, maybe it wasn't in the before times. About doing some kind of graphics for me. So when she answers, I hope to work with her and get a new, softer logo. We'll see. And then I had ideas for some more writing I want to do in relation to classwork. So the classes that I have now, I'm thinking about expanding them somehow. I don't know. It just occurred to me today. So, um, I think there's not too much as thing as there's not too much sleep, but I also think there's too much sleep. I think it depends on the in a row part, Bram. It's that balance thing. The new hat pattern. Whose new hat pattern? Oh my gosh, what did I say? Whose new hat pattern? Anna. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, yeah, so trying to figure things out, and then more things occur to me, and then I get less focused. So that's where I am this week is I'm not focused, but I'm doing my editing. I have some editing due today, so I've been working through that. And but I want to tell you about oh, Jill. Oh, Jill Zielinski. Thank you. I was like, who did I talk about? um, I'll have to look it up. Her pattern writing persona is Knitterella, Knit. Oh, I could type that in, but I can't, I can't share my screen, so I can't go find it. Or I could find you a link, but that's probably who she is in Ravelry. I'm not really sure. I don't know. You guys can do some of your own research there. I was like, who is she talking about? Her new hat pattern? I don't know. So this weekend, not while I was teaching, but next weekend while I'm teaching, I took a class at the Stitches event, and it's in hand sewing. I was so excited. And it's with Cal Patch, who's the sweetest thing. She lives on the East Coast somewhere, and she's uh, my story about Cal. I met Cal. We shared a ride to the airport from, I don't know, one of the Stitches events. And she and I and 2 or 3 other people. There might have been 4 of us. There may have been 5. Let's say there were 4. We shared an Uber to the airport, and it showed, and these are Stitches these are teachers with bags and bags of samples, giant suitcases of samples. So there are at least 4 or 5 giant suitcases. And then, carry on plus there was a lot of luggage. And the Uber guy pulls up, and he's this little it was a little hatchback or something. It was not big enough. And he's like, "I can do it." And he pulls out a bungee cord. Maybe it wasn't a bungee cord. It might have just been the strapping cord. There's a word for that. I'm going to call it strapping cord. And I'm going to go with bungee. He bungeed our luggage to the top of his vehicle. He's like, "Come on." So we rode in the car to the San Francisco airport, probably it might have been west, with all of our luggage like hanging off the car, and got there, didn't lose any. But that was my introduction to Cal. We were just like, okay. But anyway, I took a class from her in January on drafting your own pattern for a boxy top to be sewn. And I've been collecting patterns and fabric and doodads and sewing machines to do my own sewing over the last, I don't know, year or so, but I haven't actually done any yet. And so the class in January was drafting a pattern from scratch to fit me. And I was like, oh my God, that's going to be terrifying. And then I think I told you this before. It's like, Sarah, this is what you teach for knitting. It should be fine. And it was fine. And all we did was, draw it out on big paper in real size, like a paper pattern, right? And she guided us through. It was very gentle, and I could I knew some of my well, we took measurements, but I also knew the way I like things to fit because since I teach that in knitting, I pay attention to my wardrobe, and so even though this was for fabric, and I know that it's different. Fabric sewn fabric is way different from knitting a fabric. But I felt once it clicked that I knew what I knew what I was doing, then I knew what I was doing. And I made some like decisions. So this class is making the thing. And you didn't have to make the thing from the pattern she helped you with. She gave you some choices of other patterns, a lot of which sounded familiar. There's one of the shirts from 100 Acts of Sewing. I forget which one. Um, the Wixton shift from, I don't know, whoever makes the Wixton shift. There's a bunch that I've heard of through Seams, the fabric shop next to Woven Art, the yarn shop where I work. And so it was like comforting to know that this was the same kind of oh, Anna put the link up there. Oh, Cable Knit Kisses. Okay. That is pretty. Yes, thank you, Anna. So I took the class. So I bought some fabric from Seams, and of course I went with a dark blue. I didn't go with black or charcoal. I branched out into dark blue, like an indigo blue. Looks remarkably like this. It's very dark, and it's a linen. It's called Essex linen, and I was like, I don't know. The class called for a lightweight fabric, and so I searched under lightweight fabrics on Seams website, and they had Essex linen listed. So I bought Essex linen, which is also listed under medium weight fabrics. And I'm thinking it might be stiffer than what some of the other people are using, but I've tried it on already and I really like it. So I think we're going to be okay. But it's not wearable yet, but it's once I got the shoulders done, or mostly done, I could throw it over my head. And I like the way the neck's sitting, and I like the length, and we'll see how the sleeves lie. But I wanted to show it to you. So it's not particularly pretty. The most visible part right now is that I have the seam binding pinned around the neck opening. So there's my neck. It looks kind of cool like that, actually, but I'm not wearing it with all those pins. Ouch. But I've got the seam binding pinned on, and I'm going to, so this is hand sewing, remember. I'm going to hand sew the first flap on, and then that's homework for next week when we do the rest of the facing. It's a seam binding facing. But you guys, I made my own. I had to do an emergency online purchase on Friday night before my on Saturday night. My first class was Saturday, and then the second class was Sunday, and we were going to need the seam binding. So I got online with Seams on Saturday night and did an emergency purchase of a seam binding folder, and picked it up and made my seam binding before class. Isn't that cool? I made my own seam binding. I also had some store-bought seam binding. That's a whole story. But I made some. I was very excited. And I managed to make a piece that's big enough to go all the way around, so I didn't have to, because I was running out of time since I did that between classes. But so that's ready to be sewn on. I didn't get that far. But what's extra exciting is that the shoulders are done. The sleeves that we're not supposed to be doing are done, but we had planned them in the pattern drafting class. And I have the side seams in progress. They're not done. But let me show you. It's probably going to be hard because it's navy blue. But that's why I'm over here on this computer. Ouch! I'm going to stab myself. I'm going to try to turn it inside out. Ouch! It does not want to be turned inside out. It's poking at me. So it's not done. We still have to finish the neckline and the hem and the sleeve hems. And we're doing each thing differently. Ouch! Who said what? Who said something? So, Fran, I used the pattern that I didn't say. I'm yelling at you. I used the pattern that I drafted in her class. So I didn't use any of the pre-existing patterns. But not everybody in the class had taken that class. And she kept saying, "Did you do a muslin?" I'm like, "No, this is my muslin." So I'm going to bend this down, and hopefully you'll be able to see in all my navy blueness. But we did 2 different kinds of shoulder seams. That's the second one. The first one, let's see. So she's all about the finishing. I don't know if you can see. Let me do it so I can see if you can see. There's some words for you. Okay, so oh, there you go. So this is a French seam. So there, the seam is actually down here, down down here. You can see my stitching, and I did a running stitch down there. Isn't this fascinating? And then, no, I did a running stitch, and then we swoop it, and then we do the other stitch. So on the outside or the inside, no, the outside, it'll just look like, where is it? Right here. A regular seam right there. Ugh, ugh. Oh, I got some scoochies in there. A scoochie in there. And then on the inside, it's finished. So that makes it stronger and like it won't fray. And the other one, the other shoulder, is a mock French seam, which she said, and I agree, should be called a faux French seam, because duh. And so it looks the same, and the seam is down here, but this is finished a different way and then whip stitched shut. So I was doing all these tiny little stitches in dark blue yarn. They think they call it thread in the sewing industry on dark blue fabric. It matches beautifully. Let me just tell you about, oh boy, I can't see it. And then I put in my sleeves, and they're going in like the second shoulder. So I've got one done. This one's done. It's in a sleeve. And the other one is done, but I haven't done the little whip stitch yet. So it's basted. But I have to do that little whip stitch. That'll make that look, it'll whip stitch it. And then the side seams, we did 2 new seams. That's the second one. I can tell by the feel of it. And I haven't finished them yet because I was busy putting in my sleeves since we weren't supposed to have sleeves. I'm like one of 4 people who are doing sleeves when we weren't supposed to do sleeves, so it's not just me. Here we go. This is the first side seam. So normally you would like pick one frickin' seam, but this one, where is it? It's right here, Sarah. Whoop. Can we see it? So you can see the seam, and then you can see my little stitches. It's a flat fell or flat felled, I'm not sure which seam. Here's the inside. So it's like the kind you see on jeans. So here's the inside, and I'm sewing that little flappy thing down, and that's what makes the other line of stitches there that you can maybe see. But you know, it's navy blue thread on navy blue fabric. And then the other one, I was like, I don't want to do that one. That sounds dumb. And I still think it sounds dumb, but I'm going to do it, damn it, because I'm learning the things. So this one is, I think it's called a self-enclosed seam. So you just kind of roll one of the selvages over and then whip stitch that down. And I'm not really a fan of that, but yeah, not super much of a fan. So the whole thing is we're not just sewing, but we're making all the seams more durable. So like if you used a serger maybe instead of just leaving things to fray. So I still need to sew in my neck facing out of the bias tape that I made myself. Thank you very much. And then I need to do something with my ends of my sleeves and also the hem of the shirt. But here, I'll wear it inside out. I'm not putting it on because there are pins, but it's a really, I really like the neck. I had it on after I got I had the shoulders done, and I think I had the sleeves basted in, and I tried it on. So I'm not exactly sure what the sleeves are gonna look like, when it's sewn and pressed, it'll because it was a little bit stiff when I tried it on, but I don't know, but I was really excited. And I had other things I was gonna do Sunday, but I ended up sitting on the couch and hand sewing all day between my Saturday class. It's 3 to 5 Eastern, so, um, after I was done on Saturday, I, sewed a little bit, had supper, sewed a little bit, and then, I emailed Cal and said, "Oh, I forgot I had, in your class, your earlier class, your drafting class, we had done sleeves too. What if I have these sleeves?" She's like, "Oh yeah, well then you should sew them on right now because you'll need to have them in already for yesterday's class." So I didn't get everything done. So I'm a little behind. And then she also taught us a rolled hem, um, which if I didn't have a sleeve and just had an opening, that's what she taught us for the opening. But she's going to teach us something else for the end of the sleeve. And I liked the rolled hem, but I don't have anything to practice it on. So I guess I could just practice, but I have other things to do, like teaching classes. I am enjoying the hand stitching, Fran. What I'm not enjoying is the navy blue thread on the navy blue fabric because, I can't see it. So I'm doing almost all of it without my glasses on. And I am liking it. I also learned, well, and my middle sister had given me it's not a skein, uh, spool of really pretty thread for Christmas. And I was thinking before I started that it would be really cool to use this thread to sew the thing together. And Cal was saying, it doesn't have to be matching thread. And most of her pieces, the thread is part of the visual. And I chose not to. And I am now regretting that because I can't really see. And I wasn't sure. I could have asked Cal, but I wasn't sure if this was the right kind of thread. She said basically anything, um, cotton or um, polyester, because that was one of the questions I had. And this one is cotton. I have the wrong glasses on, but it says use 90/100 top stitch needle, and I didn't know if that meant it was specialty thread for something, and I should have just asked her. But it's too late now because I made the damn shirt. I mean, I could use it now, but I wish I had used it through the whole thing. So lesson to me. Um, but I also have been using. Did I tell you about the friend whose mother passed away, and the friend didn't know what to do with all the mother's sewing things, and so I said I would take whatever nobody else wants, and she sent everything to me. So I have a lot of stuff, and I've been able to use some marking pencils and some of the thread, and she warned me. She said the thread is old. I'm like, it's okay, I'll figure it out. And in this class, Cal said, so you want strong thread, don't use old thread. But for the basting, if you have some old thread, this would be a great place to use it. And I'm like, awesome, I have all this old thread. So I've been using the old thread for the basting, and I used one of the marking pencils, and I don't know what else I used, but I've been able to use some things from that collection. So that's exciting. And then I purchased, because I had to, from Seams. Um, I already bought a needle minder that says, I forget it says, it's on my, oh, it's right here. So I didn't know needle minders existed. And then I found out they existed. And so I looked and looked and looked, and I bought this one. Whoop, that says, I never finish anything. And I thought that was hilarious. I don't know why the needle's underneath it. I haven't finished the thing I bought it for. So there you go. But then I bought some needle minders for Christmas presents, and I don't have one because I gave them all away. They're inappropriate. Let's just put it that way. And I have this one, which is in the same light. I would guess this is a flowering needle minder. So, they have a magnet back and then a magnet on the back, and then they stick to your fabric, and you can, they will hold your needle. So I had just seen on the Seams website, or ugh, I have a metal table. That was a bad idea. Facebook, probably Facebook or Instagram, that they got needle minders in. So I bought one, and I haven't put it on anything yet, but I just put this on the table near me while I was sewing, and then every time I put my needle down, I put it there, and because quite often I'll like go like that, and then I don't know, I'm gonna drop the needle, or I'll stick it in. Oh, see, I just put it on the metal table again, so that'll be fun to pry off later. So I got to use some new things, and I got to use some old things, and what I didn't use was any of the 3 sewing machines I have. And I also, in the meantime, bought a pattern and fabric to make, oh God, 2 new things. We'll see if I continue with the hand sewing, but I do really like the hand sewing. I don't know, it's not, well, so it's not speedy, but Cal would say, she does say it's portable if it's hand sewing. So like I could take my little sewing bag and do some hand stitching when I'm waiting for things that I would normally have my knitting with me for. There's a good sentence for you. So that's a possibility. Yeah. And it went fast. Like everything's basically at least done the first time. And what I mean by that is most of this, everything's taking at least 2 passes, if not at least 3 if you count, well, 4 if you count pinning, and 3 if you count, that's backwards, basting, which takes no time at all. And I'm learning that I prefer hand sewing with basting rather than pins, because that stupid thread gets hooked all over the stupid pins. But if you've basted, which again takes no time at all, then there's no pins to wrap your thread around. So that I've seen the light on that, and yeah, so everything's at least basted. The side seams are not done because I had to finish getting my sleeves in, and they're not quite, the second one's not quite all the way in yet. Isn't this exciting? Sometimes I think, God, they're just, they're like, listening to me talk. I was excited about oh, I had some other fabric out to maybe make bias tape with, but I guess it turns out that the amount that I cut would probably do me for life. Plus I have, I just cut it all out. I didn't make it all. I didn't put it all through my handy dandy bias tape folder, but I cut all my strips. I have a lot of strips. So learning about that, and in the middle of teaching my class, and in the middle of editing a pattern, and in the middle of trying to figure out all the things. And that's really it. Uh, that's really it. Oh, I moved all of I didn't tell you where all my stuff went. I have a big, I'm going to call it a steamer trunk. I don't even know what a steamer trunk is, but a big metal trunk, giant, that I had used as a, I don't know, a table. And when I rearranged my living room over the last couple weeks, I brought it back upstairs and put it back in my bedroom, where it goes every couple years. It goes up and down the stairs every couple years. And I was going to put like my extra duvet and blankets in there, but I have a beautiful blanket rack that I hang all that stuff on, so I don't have to put anything in there. And then I thought, I have all these bags. of yarn that and projects that are just kind of hounding me, making me feel less than. So why don't I put all those things in that box, close the lid, and then I don't have to look at them and I know they're there. And when I'm ready to go get the next project, hopefully I'll remember that they're all in there. Um, so I slowly took all most of the bags, I still have a few here, um, into my bedroom and slumped them on the floor in front of the empty trunk. So one of these days I will open the trunk, and then another day I will start putting the things in the trunk. And I am telling you right now, there's more things than will fit in the trunk. So maybe the ones that are like in the basket will go on top of the trunk in the basket. And then that'll look nicer. They won't get done, but they will be out of sight. Probably not out of mind. So I'm still working on my status is I'm still working on the poncho, but made progress. I'm still working on Starsky, but making progress. Um, and now I'm also working on my little sweater. The colors make me happy. This green is really pretty. It's got, I don't know, flecks or heathery stuff, not flecks, but it's like got heathers of, I don't know. I know you probably can't see it, but like it's kind of heathery. It's Stonehenge Fiber Mill shepherd's wool that you can't get retail anymore because COVID is a poopy pants. Um, and that's all I have. I mean, I walking the dog. We got groceries today, curbside, and um, I got some ice cream, so that's exciting. I haven't had ice cream for a while, so there you go. I That's it. Thank you for hanging out with me. Nothing exciting to show. Well, yes, I like my shirt. It's not very exciting hand knitter wise, but it's very exciting hand sewer wise. Don't worry, I'm not going to branch out. And well, I am branching out. I'm teaching crochet, but I don't think I'll be teaching sewing classes. But I would like to make my wardrobe. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for being there. If you're watching later, thanks for watching later. And I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Maybe maybe the other computer.